When temperatures drop and the snow starts to fall, so does the chances of an 11-mile stretch of State Highway 21 staying open. The section of highway between Grand Jean and Banner Summit is also known as Avalanche Alley. But the Idaho Transportation Department's Avalanche team has been working year after year to monitor the snowpack and keep the highway open. It's to make sure drivers can safely spend more time on the road. Our Jude Binkley spent the day with the Avalanche team to see how they're preparing for another season of snow.
ITD's Avalanche team is back in Lowman for another winter watching the 11-mile stretch of State Highway 21, often called Avalanche Alley. But the landscape around the highway looks a little different this year due to damage from the Wapiti Fire. Weaving through canyons, State Highway 21 is a lifeline connecting Boise County to the Treasure Valley.
It's a huge deal for the city of Stanley because their economy is based on recreation. And also it's used for a lot for healthcare access to Boise.
The highway is one of just 3 in the country under the very high category on the Avalanche Hazard Index, posing a problem for drivers and ITD's 3-man Avalanche team.
It's quite a big undertaking, this highway, because it's very sensitive and there's not much run out for the paths.
Bill Nicholson is the leader of the Avalanche team, which is stationed in Lowman through the winter to monitor the ever-changing snowpack.
By monitoring the strength of that snowpack on the ground, we come up with an idea of how much stress it can handle.
And decide whether or not to close the 11 miles of highway between Grand Jean and Banner Summit.
It's definitely first and foremost about public safety and also keeping the road, at the same time, keeping the road available for people.
Every year, ITD's Avalanche team flies these 2 remote avalanche control systems, also called exploders, to near the top of the summit. Now, they can be detonated remotely and send out air bursts that test how much stress the snowpack can handle.
Explosives above the snowpack are more effective than explosives in the snowpack because the shock wave can travel further, so they're quite effective.
The team also tests the snowpack with an avalauncher, which fires a projectile into the snow.
So we have a bunch of different ways of exposing the snowpack to an explosive blast.
Since ITD's Avalanche team was established in 2007, they've been able to keep traffic moving through Highway 21 more often. The number of days that stretch of highway is closed has averaged about 13 days a year, compared to 60 to 90 days in the past.
It was essentially not a winter road in those days.
But this year brings a change to the canyon's landscape.
The fire's big news, and it burned through here very hot and did burn a lot of trees.
Burn scars stain the scenery, a reminder of the Wapiti Fire that torched the region. The Avalanche team used a helicopter to survey the area to see if the wildfire would have any major impacts.
There's a big avalanche problem on this highway to begin with, so it may, in the future, as those trees start to fall down, create slopes that haven't avalanched in the past to start avalanching. But that takes a little while after the fire. And also, we already have this huge avalanche problem, so we'll be dealing with it in the same way we would have dealt with it before the fire. So it really doesn't change stuff hugely for the avalanche program.
The Avalanche team tries to give residents about 8 hours of notice before closing those gates. However, that can change due to variables. And during the winter, parking is not allowed in the 11-mile stretch between Grand Jean and Banner Summit to make sure crews can do their jobs. In Boise County, Jude Binkley, Idaho's News Channel 7.